So I get it. So you went from, the digital experience stuff. So you went from like the front end, website stuff. Where did you get it? Like, where did you get your passion for creative?
I mean, that's an interesting question, man. I mean, probably early on, right? Because when I went to New York Times, I was literally their first rich media hire, right?
Wow.
So they were like, yo, like, we just need to figure out how we use Flash and like what these floating ads do and expandable banners are and whatnot. And when I got in there, it just gave me the ability to just think big. And I think, when we go back to like 99, 2000 and .com, it's kind of like Web 3.0 today, right? Which is like everyone's just trying to scramble and figure it out and shooting 150 different directions. And when I was there, I was fortunate enough to be there at a time where like innovating was easier because it was like, how much shit can you put on this screen, right? And at the time, it was about just being intrusive as shit. So we built like one of the first Peel. You remember Peel ads? It's one that looks like
of course, yeah.
I launched that over there. But probably the most impactful thing, one of the more impactful things in my career while I was there, I worked on a team where we invented sequential messaging. So anybody knows what sequential messaging is. That is, you go to a site to go look for, let's say, a pair of shoes. You go to Instagram, someplace else, and those shoes follow you everywhere you go, right? So I was part of the team that invented that. And really kind of that, going from there, I kept moving to companies where I could do the same thing. Companies that were allowing me to just think big and think out of the box. So, I spent some time at Viacom. And that was dope because their whole thing was like, yo, we just need you to drive incremental revenue, through our sales team. And for me, that was like, all right, cool. I'm going to lean heavily into innovation. But then thinking with the approach that like, as we innovate, brands want to always be the first ones to market with shit. But at the same time, then it's like, oh, it's going to cost me a lot because it's inventive. I got to learn something new. It's going to take a long time to build. So what we did was we built out the first biometric usability lab in the space. Right. And what we essentially did was allowed me to understand the emotional state of an individual when they engaged and interacted in real time. So I could tell you what works based off color, call to action, speed of animation, position on page, the whole 9 yards. And we were doing this by pulling heart rate, pupil dilation, arousal, which is sweat on the palms, eye tracking, facial expressions, whether you're leaning forward or backwards. So I could essentially create the perfect ad, bring it to market, and sell stuff that we were selling for like $300,000 for like $6 and $7 million. Right. Yo, so it was. Yeah, man. It was
kidding, bro. That's insane.